how to make the mind sensitive. Obviously, one mustn't one, a very sensitive body first, or the organism. You agree to that? That means no smoking, obviously, no alcohol, no drugs, regular exercise, and allow the body to have its own intelligence and not the intelligence of thought imposed on the body. Then one mustn't one, a heart, compassion and love, which is not merely directed to one person, but to have that sense of feeling for everybody, courtesy, thoughtfulness, quality of consideration, all that is implied when one talks of compassion. And also to have a very sensitive mind. Obviously, the first thing is not to have conflict. Because conflict distorts. And whether it is possible at all to live a life in this world with all the bestiality, the appalling things that are happening in the world, the violence, whether to live in this world possibly with no effort at all, which means no distortion. Because any form of effort is a form of distortion, isn't it? And there is distortion when there is contradiction in oneself. Contradiction, which is wanting to do something and opposed to that. The conflict of various desires and urges. The conflict of various forms of demands, compulsions, and so on. This contradiction in oneself does obviously prevent not only distortion, but brings about a sense of weariness to the mind. Right? So, is it possible sanely, harmoniously, to live in this world without conflict? That is, conflict between the mind, the heart, and the organism, psychosomatically, to live a life without any form of distortion. That implies a harmony between the mind and the heart and the organism. Now, how is this to come about? Right, sir? Theoretically, anything is possible. And most of us indulge in theories, in speculation, in what should be. When one discards totally every form of speculation, formulation, ideation, then one is actually confronted with what is. What is that one's mind is pretty dull, burdened with all kinds of beliefs, frightened, and so on. And for most of us, love is sexual. And we have actually spoilt our bodies. So how to bring about a harmony, a sensitivity in this whole of one's existence? May I go on? Are you interested in this? You know, if I may point out, this is a very serious business. It isn't something you play with. It isn't something you take up for a year because it's the hobby, the latest fashion, and drop it and pick up something else next year. If it lasts a year, I doubt it even. So what we are talking about is a very serious thing. One has to give one's life to it. It isn't a plaything. The question is, how to live a life in this monstrous world and not run away from it, harmoniously, with a great deal of intelligence, sanity, and yet have a very subtle, supple mind and heart. Is there any system that will bring this about? When we ask the question how, that's what's implied, a system. Isn't it? A method. That is, do certain things, practice every day, and eventually you will have this extraordinary supple mind. Obviously, a method is a contradiction to a supple mind. Because if you practice over and over and over again a particular system or method, then the mind becomes mechanical, rather dull. So, when one observes and sees the truth of that matter, that no system can possibly help, then one has to be tremendously aware. Now, aware with great intensity, which cannot possibly be produced through any drug, chemicals, to be aware totally. And again, there is no system that will teach you to be aware. One can be aware if one wants to be. And most of us are too lazy, indolent, because life is rather shoddy, meaningless, and so we'd rather drift. But to be actually aware of everything that's going on about one. and also what's going on inwardly, without any choice, just to observe, to be aware. That makes the mind extraordinarily supple, sensitive. And the highest form of sensitivity is intelligence. Right?